Oh.
Mm.
Hey guys, Scott Fishman here with a great guest today. Marc Mero, Bad to Good, the inspiring story of a wrestling wild man, an autobiography Marc Mero wrote with Ben Veal. Something, that came out of nowhere for me because this is not something that had like a lot of promotion ahead of it. It was just the big announcement that you said that you were going to make, and then you made that announcement. Everyone's so excited about it. Why, you've had such a long career, haven't been in the ring for a while. Why was now the right time to release an autobiography? What took so
Scott,
long?
I've had years. I'm my 18th year presenting at schools all over the world, and just seeing the difference I'm making in other people's lives. I thought, what, I could talk about, and I talk about my hard times and my bad choices during my presentations at schools. I thought, why not put this into a book and really share some in-depth stories? And obviously, I share where my good choices took me, but I'm very blatantly honest where those bad choices took me, and I take people on this roller coaster ride, and I think it really came out well. I was really happy with the final version of the book.
How much time was dedicated? I mean, how much talk about just the process, the writing process, what you took away from it? Because, there's a lot of times that you're revisiting here that maybe you haven't revisited in so many, maybe since they happened because it's been maybe put you in a dark place or something like that. Just take me through how it went.
Well, the book's almost 400 pages long, so I spent a lot of time with Ben Veal. We became best friends real quick. We were on Zoom calls all the time, and I would tell him a story, and obviously he puts it into the words that we wanted to come out on the book, and then of course I would approve it, and it was just amazing. It was a really amazing dynamic because we got along so well. We had a lot of laughter, a lot of tears, a lot of sad moments of sharing about family members that passed on and things like that. And the way he put it into words was just beautiful. And I was really excited to read the final version of it. And I just said, wow, we really nailed this.
One of the things I think is great about you and others from your generation is you guys have been through all these things and went through the fire and came out the other side, but you're also using these experiences to help others, to inspire others. And two of those, and they're part of the book. The forward was written by Diamond Dallas Page, who's doing some incredible good, and you've had some amazing matches on WCW, and Lex Luger, who no doubt went through hell and back and is doing some amazing things. The two of them doing some amazing things together. Talk about what it meant to you to have them a part of this book and others that contribute.
Well, we live real close to each other, so it's really cool to go over and obviously do DDPY yoga and hang out with Dallas, and then and seeing what Lex is now accomplishing in his life. And it's so amazing when I talk to Lex, and he's been in a wheelchair for a while, and hopefully going to be getting out of it the way him and Dallas been working together. But he told me, and it was so amazing to say for him to say to me, "I'm the happiest I've ever been." To know that is limited as he is with his movements, he's the happiest he's ever been. And that's a beautiful thing to see. And of course, what Dallas is doing with so many former wrestlers and anyone that with his program that he's changing lives. It's like we get together, there's this camaraderie that's like we almost out positive each other, so
Yes.
we really have a good time. And yeah, I was really proud to have those two guys write the forward of my book because I could ask for two more inspirational people.
Yeah. And what speaking of inspiration, when I think about the book also, I just got a copy sent to me yesterday, so I didn't have time to read the whole thing, but just kind of going through a little here and there. I love the idea of putting quotes and the inspirational quotes throughout. How about putting those together and why it was important for you to kind of infuse that into the book as well?
Well, I think that's what really changed my life. Like happiness is a choice. A lot of people think, well, I got to marry someone to make me happy, or I have to have this to make me happy, or money, or whatever. And for me, happiness, not for me, but for anyone, it really is a choice. I can think about all the miserable things that happen to me, or things I can't change, the weather, the stock market, and be all bummed out. Or I could really think about positive things, and man, I'm alive today. I can take a shower, I can eat food, I can do whatever I want. That's a blessing in life. And some people I live with this attitude of gratitude. And I think that's what really helped me change my mindset to want to be positive, but also surround yourself with positive people. You could have you have a friend that just talks about, oh, I can't believe this happens, or they're talking about someone else all the time, and it gets really old very quickly. And I like to surround myself with really positive people.
Yeah. And then you've done so many things over your career, so it's really cool to that it's recognized in this as you're talking about. It seems how the business has changed and what your impact on it was, especially when it comes to those guaranteed contracts. As you look at what happened during that time period, and kind of maybe at that point you didn't realize the position that you were put in, and maybe that was to your detriment when it comes to the other guys in the locker room, but how the business has evolved and changed to what it is now. I mean, which kind of your viewpoint from that point, and what an impact that was to have that deal and to see what came from it now with more
Scott,
security, I guess.
at that time, I had no idea how I was viewed in the locker room as far as kind of an outcast because I got here these guys are working. Remember, Steve Austin just signed before me and McFoley, and they just got the what they call the opportunity. And here I am getting this big guaranteed contract, signing bonus. I could take my ex-wife on the road with me, give her a contract. It was just, you know, I could see where people could, I look back now and could see where they could be upset at me. But now, when you really think about it, it broke the glass ceiling. In other words, now everybody gets a guaranteed contract. And I look back and I was the first one and really had a great negotiation with Vince McMahon. And it came down to I didn't need the WWE at WWF at that time. I had another guaranteed contract at WCW where I could have stayed there as Johnny B. Bad. So I had great leverage to go after that guaranteed contract. And Vince just said yes, gave me a signing bonus, gave me the contract for my ex-wife, and plus she got to travel all over the world with me. So we had everything we wanted at that time. But looking back, seeing how outcast we were in the locker room was really tough.
Yeah. Do you think back and just see what would have happened if Johnny B. Bad hadn't left when WCW was just starting to heat up? Maybe you would have gotten a better deal, that even better deal. Or do you think that the writing was on the wall at that point in WCW that you're like, okay, this is a time for me to kind of seek new opportunities?
Well, the character was already evolving, from a kind of an effeminate character for the first couple of years to kind of like the Muhammad Ali character. I'm a bad man, so who knows where it would have gone. But Scott, I have no regrets. Like, I don't look back at my life and go, I wish this would have happened or wish this would have happened. Like, all the paths I took, good or bad, up and down, led me to where I am today. And I couldn't be more blessed, happier, content. Everything I've ever wanted, I have now. I'm financially secure. I have great friends and family, a great girl in my life, and I have everything I've ever wanted. So I don't want to change anything or look back and say, I wish this was different. But, you never know. Maybe Johnny B. Bad would have been in the NWO. Who knows?
Probably.
Hmm.
One of the things you do talk about in the book is your relationship with Rena and the dynamic that you have too, also on the road. And I think that really is very eye-opening of the time is not only how you were treated, but how she was treated and the position that you were put in from a business standpoint, but also wanting to take care of her as well. And you make no bones about, the things that you went through. But including like a pretty shocking revelation or moment that she was being like a voyeur look from one of the wrestlers that you don't name, but just some shocking things, people, leaving some things in her bag. I mean, and then it just talks about, the relationship, what happened then. And just, was that kind of the hardest part of the book, you'd say, or one of the hardest part, or you kind of have, it's been so long that you kind of have already worked your way through it emotionally and
Oh
unpacked
man,
everything.
the greatest thing in life is forgiveness. And sometimes the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. But man, knowing I've forgiven everyone, everything, and myself, I have it wasn't really hard talking about it. I mean, obviously you relive moments in your life that were very sad, but I want to just tell the truth. I just wanted to, set the record straight on Webby. Yes, it was very difficult being in the WWF when she was going through things also. That's my wife that they're doing these things to. And it was very, very hard. And a lot of people don't know this. I think we put it in the book, but I had 3 years left on a guaranteed contract. In other words, I could have stayed there another 3 years and not done anything and got paid, but I chose to walk away with her when she wanted to sue the WWF, and I made that decision to walk away with her.
Yeah, and so you really haven't spoken to her since that one day in the hospital with what happened with your
Yeah,
daughter? Or
that was the last time, and and I'm very close with my daughter. And in fact,
wow.
her birthday is coming up here. I just talked to her yesterday, but she comes here with the summer with my granddaughter, and we spend some time together, and it's just amazing. And so we got a great relationship, and she has a relationship with her mother too. And there's no like I wish them all the happiness in the world, and I believe they think the same thing with me as they wish me the happiness. But no, there's no need to talk, and if we ever did, there's like I said in the book, there's only two words I'd like to say to her is thank you. Just
Is there a is there anything that you wanted to do in your career you never got a chance to? I mean, it seemed like I was really excited during your TNA run. I was like, oh my God, this guy's in great shape. We're gonna see a new run for him. But what is there anything else that you would love to have done, from a competitor standpoint that you never anything
there,
on your bucket list?
well, there's a few guys I really wish I could have worked with, and one that I did get to work with in let's see, it was when Hulk Hogan started that XWF
Hmm.
was Kurt. Man, wrestling. Kurt Hennig was man another one of those guys that you don't have to do anything. It's like they're almost like a wrestle themselves, and you're just happen to be there. But one guy I really wish I would have been had the chance to work with is Shawn Michaels. I
Hmm.
think with his style and my style, I think we're gonna really tore down the house. So and of course Kurt Angle's another one that I wish I could have worked with. And seeing the new guys like Seth Rollins out there now, Roman Reigns, guys like that, I would have loved to step in the ring with when I was in my prime.
Yeah. What about from a character standpoint? I mean, I feel like, you were brought in during an interesting time where these larger than life or outside the box characters or over the top characters, I should say, actually, that's better to say, is the wild man. But was there a way that you thought would have been better for you to be presented for a long-term kind of character standpoint, or you kind of
Yeah,
like
I got
that
to tell
direction?
you, Scott, when I went to meet with Vince, when we did sign the contract and it came down to creative now, we all knew we couldn't use anything to do with Johnny B. Bad or similar. So when I went into creative meeting, they had all these drawings made that I still have today, believe it or not. And Vince goes, let me run something by you. What do you think of Wild Man? And I thought, okay. I mean, remember, this is WWE creative, thinking they must know something I don't know. So I said to Vince, I go, well, what's a wild man? He goes, like, can you do a Tarzan yell? And I said, Vince, I don't got a very strong voice, Ric Flair has his woo and Sting has his woo, and everybody has something that the crowd gets behind. But I couldn't do a Tarzan yell. So I go, I don't think so. He goes, and I go, well, what is wild man? Like, am I from the jungle? What am I? And because I never really resonated with the character, the audience didn't either. But then you bring out this beautiful woman that's twirling a whip, and
Whipped, yeah. Like a
yeah,
Catwoman
it's like
looking thing.
you're going crazy over her, and and the character kind of got lost in the shuffle. But like I said, I have no regrets. I mean, we're being married. They're really, I make a joke that they're backing up the Brinks truck to our house at this point, because we're both, I make the same whether I win or lose. And she's now, her merchandise is selling second to only Stone Cold. So
Yeah.
it was a great time.
Um, One thing, Dusty Rhodes was someone who believed in you and got, you hear so many great stories about him and what made him so special and what he saw in people, and it just motivated you to do better. And say, what is it like for you to kind of see the impact that he had not only on yourself, but what he had in the years to follow, and then seeing how good Cody's doing right now, over the years. I'm sure you saw him growing up and hearing the stories
Yeah.
about him. So what does that mean to you?
Well, I think, people always say, what's your fondest memories of wrestling? And some of my fondest memories, Scott, were when I first became Johnny B. Bad. And, Dusty Rhodes loved that character because it's kind of a takeoff of him in a sense, the kind of like feminine and, I'm so pretty. And so before the matches, Dusty would always work with me. He said, now I want you to walk to the ring like this and talk like this and go, oh, bad man. And he would do it. And me and him would get laughing so hard because he would do it really outrageous. And I couldn't quite get it like he wanted it sometimes. And we get laughing because I do it much different than he would go, no, no, don't do it like, I'm so pretty. I've been born a little girl, and say girl like that. And so he'd hug me and we get laughing, but man, we got so close because of that. And those are some memories I'll always cherish, Scott.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what keeps memories alive is when you hear these stories of those who have gone on, right? Um,
Yes.
what's your opinion on WWE today? Paul Triple H Levesque, when you first started, was just you're wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship, and here
Yeah.
he is, one of the top guys in the company. I mean, what do you think of the landscape of wrestling? What happened with Vince McMahon now out? Would you believe in the day where he's not a part of WWE? I mean, just I don't know, get your thoughts on how everything has
I
unfolded.
I don't think anyone saw that coming, but Triple H, his first title he ever won was off me, was the Intercontinental title. That was his first one. And he
Yeah,
went on to have a stellar career. And man, there's three guys I wrestle a lot. I mean, like when I talk hundreds of times, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And remember, we're both in WCW and WWE together. Triple H, same thing. And Diamond Dallas Page, we opened more pay-per-views against each other. Plus, we wrestled on the road all over the country. And so those three guys I wrestled the most. And so I had the opportunity to wrestle Triple H many, many times. And he was just an amazing worker. He's the kind of the ring general where he called the match as being the heel, and just always had good matches with him. And I couldn't be happier to see where it's going now, the wrestling, and it's really interesting. I mean, they really get people like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? They got so many ways they can go now. So it's like everybody's, the funny thing is you've seen so many videos of what people are predicting is going to happen, whether Cody turns heel or they bring an LA Knight into the Hollywood thing, they got going there. So it's really interesting and fun to watch.
yeah. When you think about you though, how before your time you were, or how do your time I should say you were when you did the wild thing and all these high risk maneuvers. But I think they were very like targeted moves. It wasn't just for the sake of it. I mean, they just came out, at different parts of the match because that's what you guys built for. So it's interesting to see how that's the evolution of that. But when you look back, you really gain an appreciation for a lot of those matches that you had with guys like Steve Austin, and Dustin Rhodes and so many others. So I think that's really cool to
Yeah.
revisit. And I think it's also great that we're at a point where we can go back and look at things. Like I would just have to go to the video store and rent videos or anything to make it hard for me to, the accessibility is what I'm saying is there. And I think WCW doesn't always get its flowers all the time, but I think now it is, and you're being a part of it. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's and the one thing that when a young wrestlers talk to me and ask me what if I'd watch a match of theirs and what they could do different. The one thing that I really respect about Steve Austin watched everybody's matches. He knew everybody's moves. So when he wrestled them, he knew what their strengths were and weaknesses were. And it wasn't like some of these matches today, it's like watching Circus Soleil. It's like all these flips and all that looks wonderful. It's amazing they can do these things, but
Hmm.
they actually mean nothing because when they pin someone, it's not like people really think the match is going to end. They just know
Yeah.
it's another false finish. So I really encourage people to utilize psychology of the matches and not just look for high spots.
Yeah. More people should be listening to the veterans like yourself. Before I let you go, talk about, I think one of the great things that you're doing right now is just incredible. All the people you're inspiring, taking all your experiences when it comes to bullying or substance abuse, whatever people are going through, and kind of going to schools, going to the place, you're hitting the pavement. And it's almost become the second career for you, and an even more important career, you could argue. Just talk about what that's become. You mentioned doing this for 18 years, and maybe this book will help open the door for further talk and things. I mean, I'm sure fans are going to be excited to try to meet you and get autographed copies of this book. So this might open the door to that. So why don't you just let people know about this side of your life and then what you're working on right now besides the book and everything.
There's no greater joy than helping another person, and that's where I really found my purpose in life. And I'm leaving tomorrow for South Carolina, where I'm doing schools. Then next week I'm in Colorado all week. And I remember when I left wrestling, my last pay per view was in England. I remember flying home thinking, I got to travel no more. I remember we used to do 250 cities a year. And then all of a sudden I started this, and my average up until the pandemic was 230 events a year. And it's just been a crazy whirlwind, but I love it, man. I mean, the good thing is I still get to entertain people, and nobody's hitting me over the head with a chair anymore. You know what I mean, Scott?
Yeah. Do you bring the bad blaster anytime
Oh
or
no, no.
okay? Oh,
Schools would freak out if you shot all that all over
that
their
could be your big entrance.
auditorium.
I feel like you need an entrance, right? When you go to
Yeah,
these
but we do.
things.
We really bring the multimedia presentation to schools, with the videos and the cameras, or I mean the screens and everything. And then when I come out, they're showing wrestling moves, and it's pretty cool. But
Yeah,
but it's like I said, that every day we receive hundreds of messages a week on how this presentation inspired someone or changed their life. And man, I tell you, Scott, there's no greater joy than knowing that you could something you said or something you went through that was detrimental in your life at the time can help somebody today. And that's why I
yeah,
wrote this book, is I really want to help more people. And I think when someone reads this book, they're no matter what they've gone through, we all go through trials and tribulations in life. And I think this really gives people the courage and the desire and the intestinal fortitude to keep moving forward and not giving up.
yeah. What I love about these books is they're great stories. Wrestling fans can resonate with it, but people, this transcends the ring. Like all the common themes that someone goes through can really, it's almost like a motivational book in a lot of ways. So that is a really cool thing. Why don't you, Mark, you want to let people know how they could follow you and stay in touch and everything?
Well, obviously, if you type my name, Mark is with a C, Marc Mero, Mero, and I'm all over. YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/the Marc Mero, you can find me there. But I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm all over. And go to our school website, which is ThinkPoz, which is POZ.org. ThinkPoz.org, and you'll see all the upcoming things that we got with going on with schools.
That's amazing. And for fans that are interested, Marc Mero, Bad to Good, the inspiring story of a wrestling wild man, is available now. It's crazy. You don't have to pre-order. You can just go on the website and buy it on Amazon, inside the ropes magazine.com. So those are your two main places, right, to get it.
Scott, I'll
Um,
share a funny story was that, I was hoping to have one to hold up during, because I'm doing a media all day today. I fly out to
yeah.
do a media all day today. So I had to order, I haven't got the book myself, the hard copy.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I had to order my own book from Amazon. It's coming today. So hopefully the next interview I'll be doing, I'll have the book in my hand.
Yeah. There's something
I
about
haven't
holding
even
a
seen it
physical
yet.
copy, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
But
fun
I think
read from what I've read.
anyone that orders it is going to be blessed and really inspired. And I got to tell you, Scott, I share some stories that I have never shared before about the darkness I went through, um, dealing drugs with the Colombians, bringing it from Miami to New York. And people are going to read a lot of things that I've never shared before that are pretty wild.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like we need a movie adaptation next. We'll see what happens.
You never know, buddy.
Thank you so much, Mark, for the time. I really appreciate it.
Great talking to you, Scott.
All
You do
right.
a great job, man. Thank you.
Thank you.